Hey there everyone, welcome back to another episode. Once again working on the 4K GT86. I hope you're all well. This episode we are moving on to the wheels, talking about the new wheels, fitting the new wheels, showing them off really. It's probably not going to be a particularly technical episode, although I will talk about all the specs of the wheels, go into that in detail, why I went for them, and I mean that's mostly a question of taste really. So yeah, I'll get into all that. Let's have a look at the wheels, shall we? Right, so coming over here, I mean, where do I begin? I mean, to me, these just look incredible. You know, wheels often can make a car, no matter what type of car it is. If it's a show car, concourse, track car, just a street car, wheels can often make or break the look. So let's get some of this stuff out of the way and I'll talk about them in a bit more detail, really. Right, so these are a set of Work Meister M1s. Now, I've always been a massive fan of Japanese wheels in general, you know, good old T37, some of the Meister S1s, the L1s, and of course the M1s. So I'm so happy I was able to get these wheels, order them. Took a little while, of course they kind of get made to order in Japan and then shipped over here. So yeah, let's go into them. So as you can see, I went for a gloss bronze lip. And as you can really see, it really bounces the light if the camera would stop being silly with it. It just looks incredible. I mean, these have been sat here for a couple of weeks, covered in dust, but they just still look fantastic. Of course, got the matte black center, and then of course we got the gold hardware, just to add a little pop. You know, it's not too. It was either that or black, and I figured just gold just pops from the rim without adding too much of a difference in color. And all of these are wrapped in Federal 959 RSRs. We have, let's have a look. Here we go. So this is a rear, super wide as you can see, of course, being that we're fitting a Rocket Bunny kit. And these are, so 285 30 18s on the rear. Yeah, I don't plan to drive this car like a madman in the rain, that's for sure. So hopefully they should perform all right. They're just incredibly affordable as well, considering the size of them. About 100 quid a corner, sorted. Nice. Then on the fronts, we have a 245 35 18. Again, you know, one of the things I've had an issue with on the 86 in the past is actually having different rolling radiuses on the front and rear tyres, and only by a tiny amount. Having 215s, which are the OEM tyre size on the front, and 205 on the rear really screws the traction control, because having read into it a little bit, the traction control works by measuring the rear tyre speed and so on, and giving me all sorts of grief just for that tiny difference. So 245 35 on the front, 285 30 on the rear gives pretty much the exact same rolling radius front to back, and it's not too far off from OEM either. I mean, what to say, they just look fantastic. Let's talk about some specs. So they are, on the fronts, they are 18 by 9.5 minus 21 offset. And so the offset, for those of you who don't know, for those of you that kind of aren't into the super wide wheel game or three-piece wheel game, so the offset is essentially, if you were to draw a line right down the middle of the rim itself, the offset is essentially the difference between the middle and either a negative or positive offset. So if absolutely down the middle is 0, negative offset would take it that way, and positive offset would take it that way. Don't quote me on all that. I'm not an absolute expert on this subject, but I think that's fairly easy to get your head around. So I've gone for a minus 21 mil offset, so 21 mils off from the center in that direction. And that should hopefully allow me to run these on the front with no issues with, you know, they're not extreme. And so hopefully I shouldn't have to cut out too much from the front, and they should come right up close, near enough flush with the new arches. They should look absolutely fantastic. Can't wait to get those on. My plan really, as you can see, I mean, I haven't gone for loads of stretch on the tyres either. Don't know if you can see that, but they're pretty sensible tyres. So I don't plan to, as you can see, run loads of stretch. I don't plan to run loads of camber. I'm kind of looking for a pretty neutral, if not a -1 degree of camber, kind of all round at ride height. As I said in the past with the suspension arms video, when you lower the car, it gains even more camber, especially on the rear. So when I'm aired out and when the car's looking its absolutely best, I don't want it to suddenly be some absolutely ridiculous camber that, you know, just looks mad. So those are the fronts. Let's move on to the rear. So these are 18-inch diameter, 11-inch width, minus 27 offset. And the offset is actually quite similar from front to rear. And there's a funny old thing, it's at least I found when I was talking and discussing this with the people that I bought them off, even though they're 3-piece custom wheels, you still kind of run into a few hurdles when it comes to sizing them exactly how you want. And it might just be because I've stuck with the 5x100 bolt pattern that the 86 uses rather than changing my hubs or using some kind of spacer adapters. I think it's somewhat limited the options you can go for. So I had issues where I couldn't choose exactly what offset I wanted. It would go up in stages. For example, it would jump from -27 to I think -40, like half an inch essentially. If you think about it, it's 13 mil, not far off 12.5. So it was either from -27 down to -8, and that was my options: -8, -27, -40. And so of course -40 would be way too aggressive. -8 would probably need some spacers. So -27 is hopefully as close as perfect. But we'll see how that goes when I've got them on there. And again, I think that's just because I was, I've kept the 5x100 bolt pattern, which granted isn't super uncommon, but isn't the, most 5x114.3. And I think if I had converted my hubs, which is quite an expensive upgrade, but if I had done that, then I probably would have got away with a few more options. Another thing you have to spec up, especially when you're ordering work wheels and you take a big brake kit into mind, is the clearance of the wheel over the brake calipers. But they offer what they call different discs, and that essentially is the dish. So you can have super wide wheels like 11-inch here, and you can actually have no dish at all because you've specified a disc that allows you to run really big brake calipers, and it brings the center of the wheel out while keeping the offset very, very low. So as you can see here on the front, I've got less dish, and that's because of the disc type I specified, just allowing me to run the 6-pot calipers, the 330mm brakes, and likewise on the rear I've got more dish because I was able to go for the A dish, I think it's called, which I'm pretty sure is the default disc offered on work wheels, and that just about clears the 4-pot and 330mm brakes in the rear. So this is the reason why I couldn't go for larger brakes. It's because the hardware that runs all the way around the outside comes into the wheel here, and so any larger and you'd end up smashing your calipers or smashing your discs against the ends of the bolts here. So that's always a problem with 3-piece wheels because they are effectively smaller than the normal 18-inch, more akin to a 17-inch. So there we are. I think that's enough blabbing about them, really, isn't it? Let's get them on the car and see how it looks. Can't wait. Here we go, front wheels are on, time to get the rears on. Right, so I'm just going to get the wheels torqued up before I put the car back on the ground and we have a look at it. Just want to do it while it's in the air, so it's all nice. The wheels are all nice and centre, rather than put any weight on it. There we have it. Looking pretty good. Let's get the car down, shall we? And have a little look. There we have it. Look at that. Bit aggressive, isn't it? Let's have a little walk around, get you guys a close up. There we go. It's been a while since I've seen the car on the ground. Hardly recognise it. Let's have a little walk around, shall we? So here we go on the fronts. Quite aggressive. Quite a lot of poke, of course, of the standard arches. I imagine that the Rocket Bunny arches were totally covered up. What we'll probably start doing on the weekend is actually taping the panels onto the car just to see how it's all going to look and see where I'm going to start cutting. So I believe there's already an area down here where this inner arch liner, at least the first part where it covers the end of the chassis rail that sits there, potentially the chassis rail behind it, there's actually a lip on it that can just be kind of hammered back, or in some cases it does need to be cut. I think with the V3 kit you have to cut it depending on how wide your wheels are. But anyway, so there's that on the rear end, and I believe on the front end, I mean, you can already see that's going to hit. So of course the whole new front bumper is going to be fitted anyway, so that isn't too much of a problem. So that's looking just a little bit of poke there, not too much. And coming around to the rear, a lot of poke. Excellent. And on the rear, of course, wheels don't turn, so shouldn't have any problems there. See if we can get a good look from the rear. Nice. It's all looking very good. Let's do one last thing, shall we? Let's get the car aired out a bit, just see how it really looks. Right, here we go. Get in here. Lovely flickering on camera. Let's go down to a slightly lower ride height. Let's have a little look at that, shall we? Oh, already rubbing here, that's for sure. Now, of course, the Rocket Bunny arches actually sit higher than the OEM ones, so at the moment, can't imagine it's sitting directly on that wheel there. Anyway, I've just raised it back up. I think you'll all agree they look absolutely fantastic. And those brakes behind look incredible, in my opinion. Right, so that's another episode closed out, guys. That was the wheels, finally getting those fitted. Very exciting. Hope you'll agree they look absolutely fantastic, especially with those big brakes on the last few episodes behind them. So of course, the next few episodes hope to be starting and hope to be doing something with the body kit. I think I'm going to start on the simple bit, the fitting up the front bumper, and of course once that kind of central piece is fitted, I can start going around the car and working out where everything else goes. Taping the panels on, maybe starting cutting, drilling, all that scary business. So as always, guys, I really hope you enjoyed this episode. I absolutely loved it. So happy to get these wheels on, so happy to them to be front and brake, so happy they fit, just everything about it worked out exactly how I wanted it to. I'm the kind of person that will read for hours and hours and hours and hours before I buy anything or commit to anything, so I'm glad to see that's paid off. If you did enjoy it, do all that good YouTube stuff as always. Till then, hope you have a good one. See you next time. Bye-bye.